You think about all the crazy high-tech gear in sports today, right? Carbon fiber helmets, shoes that are basically trampolines. But what if I told you the real game changer, the one thing that separates champs from the injured list, is just a simple roll of tape? It looks basic, but we're about to dive into the pro-level science of getting it right. No, for real, an athletic trainer's bag is full of fancy gadgets. But this is the secret weapon. It's not just sticky fabric. It's a tool you use to literally build support, to stop injuries before they happen, and to keep players in the game. It's the real MVP of the medkit. Okay, so if it's so important, why does so many people get it so wrong? You know exactly what I'm talking about. That sloppy ankle wrap that's already peeling off by the second quarter, doing absolutely nothing. That right there is the difference between an amateur job and a pro job. And today, we're gonna fix that. So let's start where the pros do. Look, a perfect tape job has nothing to do with the first piece of tape you lay down. It starts with the prep, the foundation. And if you mess this part up, you've pretty much lost before you've even begun. This is the Pro Prep Checklist, and every single one of these is non-negotiable. First, you gotta clean the skin. Tape doesn't stick to sweat or dirt. Obvious, right? Then, a quick hit of adhesive spray to make the skin tacky so that tape grabs hold and doesn't let go. Next, padding those bony spots. This isn't just for comfort, it prevents gnarly blisters that can take a player right out of commission. And finally, under wrap to protect the skin. Skip any of these? Honestly, you might as well not even bother taping. Okay, so the skin is prepped. But now comes a skill that seems ridiculously easy, but it's one of the biggest ways you can spot a real pro from a wannabe: getting that perfect, clean rip. This is not just tearing a piece of paper. It is a very specific technique. So picture this. You grip the roll with your dominant hand, middle finger right through the center. Grab the loose end with your other hand and pull it tight. You need that tension. Then it's a super fast shearing motion. Don't just pull it apart. You want to hear a clean snap. That's the sound of success right there. And here it is, the #1 rookie mistake. Whatever you do, do not bend or twist the tape when you're ripping it. You see that little frayed, bent edge it creates? That's a huge weak spot. It's a ticking time bomb. The second an athlete puts real force on that joint, that's exactly where the tape is going to fail, and your whole tape job is officially useless. So, you think you've got it down? I know it looks so easy when you see someone else do it, but let's see if you can really pull it off. The source material calls this the tape tearing tournament, and I love this idea. If you've got a roll of tape lying around, seriously, pause this and give it a shot. See if you can rip 10 perfectly clean strips. And if you really want to go pro level, time yourself. This is exactly how trainers get that speed and muscle memory to do it perfectly on a chaotic sideline. All right, you've nailed the prep. You're a tape-tearing master. Now it's time for the main event, applying the tape. But listen, you can't just start wrapping willy-nilly. There's a code of conduct, a set of unbreakable rules for building a tape job that's actually going to work. These 4 rules are your new Bible. First, positioning is everything. If you tape an ankle while it's in a weak position, you're just locking in that weakness. Second, you have to overlap each piece by at least half. Any little gap is just a hole in your armor. Third, smooth it out as you go. Wrinkles create awful pressure points. And last, anchor and lock. The first and last pieces are what hold the whole structure together. But even if you follow all those rules perfectly, there is one massive mistake that amateurs make all the time that isn't just ineffective, it can be flat out dangerous. And here it is: never, ever wrap in one continuous long spiral. As our source puts it, the risk there is literally cutting off circulation. Pros know the technique is always one strip at a time. You apply a strip, you tear it, and you start the next one, period. And there's some really cool science behind this. It's called hoop stress. So think about it. As an athlete's muscles swell up during a game, that unbroken circle of tape can't expand. It just gets tighter and tighter and tighter, basically turning into a tourniquet. We're not just talking about being uncomfortable here. This is a serious medical issue. So beyond all the rules and the science, there's also an art to it. And I think this quote just nails it. You have to become one with the tape. You can't fight it. You can't just force a straight piece of tape to go around a curvy ankle. You'll get wrinkles, which lead to pressure points and peeling. You have to gently guide the tape, letting it follow the natural contours of the body. We've prepped, we've torn, we've applied, but guess what? The job's not over. Getting the tape off safely is just as much of a skill as putting it on. And yeah, there's a pro technique for that too.
Here's a super cool insider tip. The direction you cut with your tape scissors really matters. If you're cutting tape off yourself, you cut from the top down. But if you're a trainer cutting it off an athlete, you always cut from the bottom up. I know it sounds backward, but it's all about creating the safest angle to lift the tape away from the skin without poking the athlete or aggravating the injury.
Okay, enough theory. Let's put these rules into practice. We're going to run through the playbook for two of the absolute most common tape jobs you will ever see: buddy taping a finger and a basic wrist wrap. First up, buddy taping. This is the go-to for a jammed finger in basketball or a minor sprain from a dig in volleyball. The idea is so simple, it's brilliant. You're just using the healthy finger right next to the hurt one as a natural splint. But the placement is absolutely critical. You use a thinner tape and you put one piece above the middle knuckle and a second piece below it. You never tape right over the knuckle itself. Why? Because this gives the finger all the side-to-side support it needs, but it still lets the athlete bend their fingers to grip a ball or make a fist. It's support without sacrificing function. Okay, next play, the basic wrist drop. The single most important thing here is the patient's hand position. They have to either make a tight fist or spread their fingers out as wide as possible. This tenses up all the muscles so you don't accidentally wrap it too tight. Then you build it with your overlapping strips. But here's the real secret to making it strong. Always, always apply 2 full layers. So when you boil it all down, what's the big takeaway? It's that athletic taping is a game of precision. Every single step, the prep, the rip, the overlap, the removal, all these little details matter immensely. Mastering these is what turns a simple roll of tape into a legit piece of high-performance equipment.
Which really just leaves us with one last thought. If a single bad wrinkle or a slightly misaligned strip limits an athlete's range of motion by just a tiny percentage, what does that cost them out on the field? Could that tiny imprecision be the difference between making the game-winning play and not even being able to finish the game at all?